Crealy may not be the first park that springs to mind when you think of UK theme parks, but hidden amongst those family rides and animals are some real surprises. So let's break it down and see what should be kept and what should be scrapped. As always, let's start with the headline attraction, and that is Maximus. When I went down there recently, it was celebrating its 25th birthday. This was Devon's first roller coaster. It has had a previous name and it's been rethemed and renamed to Maximus, and it is a really good family attraction. It's not the most thrilling thing out there by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not meant to be. In fact, nothing in this park is designed to be that thrilling, although that may be changing in the future. But it is a great ride. A couple of laps on this thing, some decent helixes, some alright forces actually for a family coaster, and yeah, we're going to start strong. Chuck it in the keep pile. The next attraction that I'm going to talk about kind of surprised me a little bit, and that is Vortex. Now, it's basically just 3 water chutes that you go down in an inflatable raft. I only got on 2 of them. One of them wasn't operating the day I was there, but I was actually surprised how much fun these were. One of them is basically just straight down, and the other one has a couple of kind of bunny hills on the way down, but they're great fun. They are a lot of fun. I was exhausted walking up there because, you know, I'm old and I'm unfit, but still a lot of fun. Came flying off the end. So if you're an adult and you've got a bit of weight in you, you are going flying, and it's just great. So it's another one I'm going to chuck in that keep pile. There's another water ride that I can't speak to, unfortunately, and that is their log flume known as Tidal Wave. And I timed this one really, really badly because it was open for part of the day that I was there. Unfortunately, by the time I decided to go on it, it had closed. So it was running in the morning, and then it kind of started raining, and I went and took cover, and then when I went back to it later, they were waiting on an engineer who obviously was unable to fix it on the day. So yeah, I didn't get to experience their log flume. It looked alright. If you've been on it, let me know. Okay, so staying with the water theme, although not actually a water ride, they've got their pirate boat known as the Flying Dutchman. And it's an interesting thing. I mean, it's not, as I've said already, nothing in this park is thrilling. So it's kind of, it's not the super small kiddie pirate boat, but it's not a full-size one either. It's somewhere in the middle. It's kind of that sort of sweet spot. The thing that caught me unaware was that it gets up to speed really, really quickly. Now, I did Breen the following day, and I'll be reviewing that park shortly. Their pirate boat was larger, but took forever to get going. Now, that could be physics and inertia, but this thing just very, very quickly got up to speed, and it was a lot of fun. And you know, typical pirate boat, you have that kind of lap bar, but you're not really restrained, so you know, you can come out your seat at the ends and get some airtime. And we were fortunate enough to be at the end of the boat. So yeah, listen, as I said, not the biggest boat out there, but I still enjoyed it. So let's chuck it in the keep pile. There's another piratey sort of ride. It's their tugboat. Now theirs is called the Jolly Roger. Full credit to the ride op who was there, because he decided to sing a little sea shanty to my partner. What shall we do with Uncle Carly? As I said in that video, I've known her for many years and she hasn't touched a drop of alcohol, so maybe not the most appropriate sea shanty, but it was fun nonetheless. And great, that is one thing I will say. I know these reviews are always about the attractions, but I would like to just point out in this park, not only is it very well presented, the staff are amazing. Like, I cannot fault the staff. And I'm not saying this just because the park invited me down there, which they did. I did pay for my own ticket, just in case anyone's wondering, but they really are like a credit to the park. You can see they all enjoy their job, and this guy, exactly that. You know, he just decided to have a little bit of fun and sing this sea shanty, so, which was fantastic. Getting back to the ride itself though, I mean, it's a rock and tug. It's probably, again, perfect for the target audience, but it just felt a bit underwhelming. And to be honest, if the guy hadn't been singing that sea shanty, it would probably be getting chucked in the scrap pile. So I'm going to be a little bit sort of kind to it, and I'll chuck it in take or leave it. Right, so moving around a little bit, the park has a tracked ride. As is quite common in multiple parks these days, they have a kind of dinosaur themed area. So they've got this tracked ride known as Dino Jeeps. And as you can imagine, it is basically like a Jurassic Park Jeep going through like all this foliage with these animatronics, some of which are pretty good actually. Like, I will say there are some really good animatronics in here. Again, for the target audience, right? We're not talking Universal and Disney level. This is a small family park, but it is very well presented. And I think the kids might actually be scared by it, given the target audience, or certainly they will enjoy it. Oh, there's one bit in that you go into an indoor section, which is where a number of the animatronics are, one of them squirts at you. It's kind of like a spitting dinosaur, so yeah, you get sprinkled. But anyway, listen, I enjoyed it for what it was, and I gotta keep this one too. Right, one I didn't enjoy, and I didn't enjoy it because I didn't get on it, is Twister. So the park has 3 coasters, 3 credits. This is the only one I did not manage to get on. Now, to be fair to the park, when I turned up on the board, it said not operating today, Twister, which was a little bit disappointing, but you know, they were upfront about it. Then it started testing, and staff were at the entrance saying, oh, you know, when the weather calms down, we'll get it open again. And then they were like, oh, we're just waiting on engineering to write it, sign it off to us. And unfortunately, that never happened. It did not open the day I was there. Now, I've seen other people's vlogs. I don't think it is the most thrilling of rides. It's one of those kind of wild mouse spinning ones. But there's a couple of manufacturers that make these, and I believe this is the model that doesn't really spin that much. But I can't speak to it because I did not experience it. So if you've been on Twister, let me know what you think. Right, as is always the case, there are a ridiculous number of very much junior kiddie rides. Now, I'm a big kid and the park was quite quiet, so I went on a few of them, but I definitely didn't go on all of them. So I will talk to the ones that I've been on. And in Sooty Land, there was a ride called Izzy Wizzy, Let's Get Dizzy. And I thought, oh, okay, this is one of those ones where there's 2 discs and a bunch of cars, and you know, as the discs rotate, the cars switch from one side to the other and they do a figure of 8 and they're spinning. Yeah, no, that unfortunately is not what was happening. The plates had been blocked off so that the cars couldn't transfer from one side to the other. I don't know if it ever did, and for some reason they've changed it, or if it was always kind of nerfed and kind of toned down. The vehicles didn't spin very much. Now again, as I've already alluded to many times, this is not a park aimed at thrills, but I still think it could have done a little bit more. I think there could have been more spinning in there. There definitely could have been that figure of 8 element, so whilst I'm not going to get rid of it, I'm going to put it in take it or leave it. If they could fix that, if they can get it to at least do the figure of 8, maybe spin a little bit more, I'd probably up its rating. Right, we're halfway through this video, and first of all, I want to just say a massive thank you to all of you who have been with the channel for some time, and even those who are new and have shown their support, because some of you may be aware I recently won the Gold Award for Best Developing Content Creator in the UK, which is absolutely mind-blowing. If you want to be part of this journey, because I plan to do so much more in the coming months and years ahead, make sure you hit that like button and please subscribe. Right, if you've watched the channel for long enough, you will know that I typically like a train ride. It's become a bit of a tradition for me. When I've finished my lunch, I will go on the park's train ride and chill out and see a bit of the park. Now they've got a train ride here, but it's not quite that type of train ride. It is a very small tracked train, more like a flat ride than a train ride around the park. So it doesn't really take you anywhere except in a kind of weird track in this small plot of land. There are some little statues in there of animals. You're supposed to be on this kind of safari, which I'm sure the kids love. I would be very surprised if the kids don't like this. One of the things my partner spotted was that these statues even have individual whiskers on them. Like, they've gone into a lot of detail in these, which they didn't need to do, which is pretty good. Now, it is the slowest train I've ever been on. It is not intense in any shape or form. I can't remember if we got 2 laps or 3, but you definitely get more than 1. So yeah, again, I imagine the younger children will love this. I just think, in the park, as I've alluded to already, it's starting to push up to the older children now. So for this, I think it's kind of, I would put this one and take it or leave it. So the park's also got a ride that, I mean, judging by its name and having experienced it, I think it's quite an old attraction. It's their Victorian Carousel. And it is basically just a carousel. It's a funny little thing though. And I mean, obviously, as I've said, it's called the Victorian Carousel. I suspect it's got many years on the clock. It looked like in the middle of it, there was at one point like a steam-powered generator for this, which I don't think is used anymore. It's probably now just standard electric. But it was very clunky. It was very slow and up and down. And I think it's just showing its age. Now, I often sit on the fence with this because I think there is a place for preserving old attractions, but there's also comes a point where it's just like, they're done. And I don't know if this just needs some WD-40 or if it's had its time and it needs to go. I will put it in take it or leave it just because of that kind of age and heritage, because, you know, it's an older attraction. If it can be improved, it's worth keeping. If not, maybe it needs to go in that scrap pile. But for now, let's chuck it in take it or leave it. So, I mean, I kind of said earlier, big kid, park was quiet, I went on a couple of kids' rides. They've got an indoor section, they've got a few indoor sections. They've got like an arcade section, they've got a few rides, and then they've got a kind of insect and animal enclosure-y bit. Inside the ride section, there's a few things. There's teacups, which I didn't go on, not going to speak about those. There's a cred. There is a coaster in there called Shark Bay. Now, it is probably the tamest kids ride I've ever been on. I actually almost didn't get on it, just because the lap bars are fairly restrictive. They're obviously designed for the younger audience, shall we say, not a 44-year-old man. I did get on it. I was the only person there. I had the whole train to myself. And I think it was about 3 or 4 laps. Now, I don't know if that is the norm or just, it's dead, let's just leave it going. As I always say, I like when a park has a coaster aimed at that very young audience, because it's a good way to introduce them to it, because you're not going to just jump straight onto the kind of thrilling coasters, they'll be petrified. So they need to work up from something, and if we can start them young on these little coasters, then happy days. So for that alone, I'm going to keep it. Incidentally, it was my 300th coaster credit. You know, you have to do these silly things for your milestones. Yep. Right, so also sticking inside that area, the other attraction that they had was a drop tower. Now there, it's called Dolphin Drop. It's a kids drop tower, so it's not thrilling in any shape or form. I think they've still not told us what next year's ride is. Maybe by the time you see this video they will have. Pirates Plummet, I think they've said. And of course everybody is believing it is going to be the drop tower from Polton's, like Magma. So they're probably going to get a decent drop tower. But right now they've got this very, very small kids one, which I went on. And again, because kids probably won't go straight to the big boys, it's probably good to have an introductory ride for them. So for that alone, I'm going to keep this one as well. I've already touched on a few other things apart from just the rides, right? I've obviously mentioned that the park's very well presented and that the staff are genuinely lovely. There's also, I mean, there's a whole animal section here, which I've not really touched on. It's not the most expansive selection of animals, but nonetheless there are some, and I think that is fantastic. In addition to that though, inside the kind of Sooty area, they've got loads of things for kids. They've got like giant twister and all sorts of things, and like puzzles and stuff, which is fantastic. And a massive soft play, which clearly I did not take part in. Although, let me know in the comments if you think they should have adult soft play in the evenings, because, well, most of us are big kids. Anyway, inside there, they also have, so it's all Sooty themed, clearly. That's the IP they've gone for. And if you're somebody like myself, well, you grew up with Sooty. I know Sooty is still around for the younger generation, but it's been around for a very long time. And one of the things they've got there is the Sooty Hall of Fame, which I think is fantastic because it has some old puppets, it has old props and like sets and stuff, and I think it's just brilliant. And then loads of like old episodes playing, like ones way back that I can remember to the modern ones. I think it's just really nice to have that kind of both nostalgia and nod to the new, right? It's an IP that's, you know, stood the test of time. It's still going, and I think it's fantastic. So, you know, although it's not an attraction, still something I'm going to keep. Right, so there you go. I mean, obviously I missed a couple of the attractions I'd love to have gone. Didn't go on Twister, did not get on the log flume. Still a little bit salty about that, but I probably will be back next year when their new attractions come along. So I have put more things in keep than in the other categories, and I think it is genuinely a beautiful park. It's one I honestly had never heard of before. I mean, it's in Devon, so for me it is very far away. But if you are in that neck of the woods, or you're just looking for a really nice family park and you have the younger family, then it's definitely one to visit. As I say, my kids are now grumpy teenagers, so it's not really aimed at them. But if I'd known about it when they were younger, I certainly would have went. So if you've been at this park, I'd love to know your thoughts. There's also what you think of my decisions on the ride lineup, because as always, there's probably some you agree with and some that you don't. If you haven't seen the vlog from Crealy, I'll chuck it up here.